welcome to Motormouths. I'm Mike from Motec, and this is
James from the Performance Company.
And we are good friends, both in the industry, and we basically just wanted to sit down and have a chat because we've got a lot of knowledge and we believe there's a lot to talk about in this industry going forward. And we're going to be seeing what other people think and get some guests on, having conversations with them, learning about their futures, pasts, and what they're currently doing now with a lot of change going on. But we wanted just to sit down and start a podcast. Bear with us, it's really warm. It's currently 31 degrees in the UK, so the next episodes won't be as sweaty looking as this if you're watching us on YouTube. And then we wanted to say thank you to Liberty Walk Cafe for this lovely seating area. We'll be here drinking their coffee, hopefully once every other couple of weeks, I guess, when we do
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hope so.
So over to you, James. Obviously, we talk a lot all the time, so I guess let's talk about what we talk about.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're obviously good friends, but of course we do a lot of business together. I think combined, what is it, 45 years?
That makes us sound old.
It does, yeah.
Exactly.
Combined, 45 years experience working in the performance industry through varying avenues. Well, tell people, where did you start working in the performance industry?
Well, where did I start? Was for a Saturday boy for my uncle who had a business called Motec. It's nothing to do with, this will come into another part of the story. So I worked as a Saturday boy there, so I was always interested in cars and modifications and the car scene, Max Power. Probably because you used to have to buy Max Power when you were a teenager and half of it was a porno mag.
It was.
But it was, if you don't know what Max Power is, then Google it. But yeah, it kind of started from there. So my uncle was importer of a lot of products, Mass Italy, Apex suspension, Scorpion exhaust. So I was there as a Saturday boy, worked up through sales, decided to leave to kind of find my own way. Went to Halfords. Yeah.
Well, post Rip Speed.
Yeah, it was.
So it was Rip Speed,
Halfords. Halfords. Oh man, I had my driving test, but I didn't have my first car. So we're talking many years ago, so sort of 17, 18. Sell car stereos. Anything to do with cars, I wanted to know. So selling car stereos. From there, we didn't agree actually. I left, and then I didn't have a job, and I spoke to my uncle again. I said, look, can I have a job? And actually, to apply for a job, and then worked in the warehouse. Working for there for a number of years. We'll talk, how do our conversations? Because obviously you were there as well. I'll tell that in a second. So we'll briefly get to where I am now. So we'll do it quickly. So I worked in the warehouse for a number of years, went to sales. Then we had a separate site in Milton Keynes, which is like an alloy wheel shop called Auto Excess. None of you will remember this, but it's quite a good story. Left there to go work for Yokohama. So Yokohama Tyres, I was an account manager for Yokohama Tyres, which was quite
Was it TSW at the time as well? Yokohama TSW?
It was, yeah. And obviously, because I'd worked in the alloy wheel shop, that's why they employed me, because I was kind of headhunted a bit, if you like. But yeah, so to be an account manager from Yokohama, to start selling wheels. But yes, it was in the fact of 17-inch wheels, 205/40 17s. I remember the
TSW Venom.
Yeah, the Venom, and then the pin drive wheel that they did, which is the large one, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, TSW and the Blade and the Evo and the Evo R, and then I was part of the team that tried to push TSW to different markets. So TSW has a brand image. Should we say, and they had a number of different manufacturers under them called like Bayern, which is the wheels they did for BMW.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were called. There was a Porsche one as well. That's a long time ago. But there was basically a separate wheel division made by TSW, but just for Porsches, because the new Porsche owners wouldn't buy TSWs. So that was my job, was to work for them. And then that was for a number of years. Got headhunted actually. I remember I had brought a Seat Ibiza, and I bumped into Kev Hall, who's still at Revo actually.
He's still there, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And then I went to Revo for a couple of years, and I was in charge of a lot of OEM sales. So I was doing ECU mapping for dealers, so like Northampton Audi and Bedford Audi would call Revo up and say, we've got a Touran here, it's underpowered, we want to make it powerful, as in, it's up to the 2-litre spec. Of course, they offered mapping. This is a few years ago now, so about 11, probably sort of 14 years ago, actually, think about it. We do a lot of RS6 delimiters, Golf GTI. So when the Mark V was out, I was at Revo. And then we went separate ways, and that's when I set Motec up. And that was it. I set Motec up, and we were initially remapping. In the time of not going back to original Motec, my uncle would change businesses, and he was actually selling a lot more online camper van parts. I wasn't really interested in that. So I pinched the family name, rebranded it as Motec Performance for performance mapping. And then now we are where we are now, really. So that was it. But we were friends at school.
Yeah.
And then I remember being asked, what's that Jamie like? Because he used to be called Jamie.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, he was a good lad. And I remember you at school had a Uno.
Uno 45.
With a Pico big bore
Yeah,
exhaust onto it.
that's
Jay,
exactly right.
sorry, by the way, Jay, our cameraman, is behind the camera as well. We'll probably get him on a podcast as well one day.
We
We've
will.
got a lot to talk about social stuff. But yeah, we had, and I remember that. And I remember then seeing you because you were, of course, working for the Milton Keynes branch, but occasionally, because I used to work for the Northampton one, I'd come over on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
And I would see you from there.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yeah.
that's friendship.
I worked at Motec, old Motec in 1999, and then moved over to Auto Excess, and then went back to Pipercross after a couple of years, I think. So I started in the industry as an apprentice motorsport mechanic.
Didn't know that.
No, JWS Motorsport.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
but I didn't-
JWS Motorsport,
Okay,
and I
yeah.
went to college, and I quickly found that getting dirty wasn't my idea of fun, but I like working with the cars, but not necessarily working on them.
No.
So left and started Pipercross I started at Pipercross as an office junior, doing the paperwork, doing the export shipping, doing the technical sales, and really worked my way up through Pipercross to be a general manager,
But then
sales manager.
That's when I started speaking to you again, when you were probably
That's
general
right.
manager.
Yeah.
I'd see you at maybe Max Power Show or Autosport Show.
That's right, yeah.
And then because I started doing mapping, I was then selling panel filters.
Yeah,
Discover the
that's
map.
exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then the company that is that owns Pipercross Filtration Control, we purchased the performance company.
Yeah.
That was back in 2013-14. So since then, obviously, we've worked a lot closer together. We've brought on a lot of brands together, and that was the sort of so it's been 24 years in the performance industry.
People can
for me.
work out your age.
Oh yeah, old.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah, exactly. Oh,
We want to pause just for 1 second.
I'd like to say, and we're back, and we are. We've had to just open the doors. It is a little bit warm in here today. So, first of all, can you put your Liberty Walk coffee on the side? You need to put the little branding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look,
Yeah, we drank it.
But I'm thirsty, so I'm dying.
No,
here.
it's warm in here, so please, again, bear with us. I know the answers to a lot of these questions, but it's remembering that you guys don't, and that's obviously hopefully why you're listening. So, you briefly said that obviously it's a TPC, which is the performance company.
Yep.
And it's part of a group. How did that happen? I mean, I know.
So
you're at Pipercross.
yeah, at Pipercross. Pipercross has always been owned by Filtration Control Limited.
Okay.
A much larger company.
And I'm right in saying you're owner of that as well.
That's correct. So I'm one of 5 directors of the group,
Okay.
and that group is including Filtration Control, FCL Solutions, Pipercross, TPC. FCL make commercial filters. We supply the bus, truck, train industry with oil, air and fuel filters, which is really interesting because, people talk about Pipercross and efficiency and do the filter foam work.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much every London bus, every stagecoach bus, every National Express you get on probably have a foam filter.
Not in the engine. We're talking about in the
No,
cabin.
in engines as
Okay.
well. Main engine
Oh,
air filters.
okay.
Main engine air filters. And when you think of a bus or
Yeah.
a train and the value of those engines.
Yeah, and the miles they've got to do.
Yeah, and
Because
the
they don't
miles
stop,
they
do they?
No,
Because
they don't stop. They work.
24/7.
And so, efficiency and things is proven on bus, truck and train.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the group, Filtration Control, FCL organisation. It's some, 33 million turnover,
And how many employees?
103.
Oh, really?
As a group, 103, 33 million turnover, 33, 35.
I thought my wage bills were high.
Yeah, it's a big wage bill. So Pipercross, TPC, I suppose, is only a small part of what we do, but it's the part that is my speciality. It's where I enjoy. I don't get involved in the commercial side of the business. I look after Pipercross, their export sales, and the performance company is my day-to-day role.
So that's where you're at now. So you worked at Pipercross, you went through the ranks, and
That's
then
right.
how did you get to become a director or an owner of Pipercross? So still going on about the past.
Yeah, we did a management buyout of Filtration Control FCL organisation, and that was myself, Adam, who was also at Pipercross with me, who's technical manager, James, Mike. The team came together, and we did a management buyout back in 2013 and bought the group.
And that was around October time, and I remember that because we were in Vegas at SEMA.
Yes.
When you had a buyout, and we can't share that story online, but if you ever meet Jimmy, it's a good story to ask him.
Yeah.
So that was then. So obviously part of the management buyout. So you're now obviously owner of Pipercross, and Pipercross isn't just road cars; it's buses, it's everything from BCTC.
BCT. WRC. Pipercross has a massive, rich history. Over 38 and 39 years of manufacturing.
And it's OEM as well on some things.
Yeah. Been OEM on lots of vehicles in the past. It's changing, but it's always evolving. FCL have the patent now, trademark for PEPA filters, which are HVAC filters, go on the air conditioning, that kills coronavirus. And it's a patented product that's being supplied to the bus, truck and train industry. It's been used by London Transport.
We could have done with that a couple of years ago.
We could have done with that a couple of years. If it was that a couple of years ago, we'd have all been good. But so, yeah, it's always evolving, and it's a fantastic business. I'm very lucky to be where I am. Obviously working from just a sales guy at Pipercross to where we are now. But it excites me, and we're growing every year.
So that bit of the side, without sounding horrible, is very business orientated.
Very much so.
And then obviously TPC is the fun aspect of it, the modifications, the finding new products, because that's the bit I get excited about as being a customer of the performance company, and yet again Jimmy's friend, is, hey, here's a new product we're thinking about doing. I don't get any say into it. It's more like, why are you not selling this new product we've just brought out? But it's exciting to see it grow. So that's where you're at now, but you need to, I've always asked this as well, how do you find a new product and then find out if it's going to work in the UK, and then how do you get distribution on it so some other people don't get on it? So that will be, I guess, if we're currently talking about the present now, then that's the future. So going back to the present first, don't forget, because I'll ask that again in a minute. So we've got obviously TPC. Tell me about the brands you're doing now, and then also more exciting for me, what we're driving, what's coming next. Talk about cars.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this is all about cars. We've got to find out what he's driving personally, and what demo cars is you got and coming.
Yeah. So finding a brand to represent in the UK is difficult because the performance industry isn't a new industry. There's a lot of older companies, established companies, and a lot of the brands are already established with good, reasonable distribution.
Yeah.
So finding a brand that, one, ticks the boxes, is good, of good quality, is marketable, that isn't already taken is very difficult. We've been very lucky, and obviously TPC's been going since 2009, 10. So a lot of the brands have been with us for many years. Remus Exhausts being one of them. Yeah. Obviously, you do very well.
Remus has got a really good story, because I remember it years ago from when I used to watch Formula One. Damon Hill was sponsored by them.
Exactly that, yeah.
People forget who Damon Hill is. Well, maybe some of our audience won't. I remember that, but then because I came from Motec, which was a lot of Scorpion. Scorpion's still a great exhaust, isn't a diss at them at all. But Remus have took a big chunk of the UK market that wasn't necessarily missing. It came in and punched its way in.
Yeah.
But that was obviously you taking the realms back then and then saying, hey, this is a new product, or not a new product.
Not a new product, but they went through their own manufacturing changes, around 2013, 14.
Is that when they went from that very European-looking exhaust? Yeah. Don't mean to be horrible to European exhaust. There was different styles.
Very different styles in tailpipes and so on, and they changed that in around 2012, 13. The nice shot finish, shot blasted finish, the nice tailpipes. Coincided with, so maybe going slightly early, 2014 to the M4.
Yeah, it was a good system.
Amazing system, and it really built the brand.
Yeah.
So yeah, Remus is one of our strongest brands. It's growing. You do very well on it. For me to find new brands now is very difficult. We have got some more exciting news coming soon. I don't want to say yet because it isn't signed, sealed, and delivered, but there will be some. Yeah, probably yes. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I do.
You've already placed an order.
No crap.
You haven't signed that yet either.
Not yet.
But no. So I could go on for absolutely ages about the brands. I mean, TPC's got 18 brands now, and some fantastic ones like Liberty Walk and AirX and so on. Liberty Walk has transformed our business.
Thank you for the coffee.
In terms of brand and image. But you know, I could go on, and we'll be way out of time. So,
because one thing I just want to just sort of talk about really quickly is we are going to be talking about shows with someone who's come across two shows.
Yeah.
I'm all right saying years ago, if you wanted to be a distributor for a particular product, you would go to Autosport Show, or you'd go to SEMA or Automechanica or something like Essen, and you would go across and you'd say, "Hey, I'm Jimmy from the UK, and this is my brand, and I've got these amount of brands, and we want to sell yours." It must be harder now.
It is, and I can't wait to travel again. I haven't been to SEMA now for...
Oh, we went 4 years. Oh, management buyout.
5 years.
Management buyout.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
I go to Essen, haven't been for 2 years. Autosport, obviously, for the UK is the main one and successful for us. But it is more difficult without travel at the moment, and to go out and to see products and to touch, feel and speak directly, because it's so much easier. Just sending an email, explaining who you are, what you do is very difficult to get that kind of info over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so TPC, I could talk for ages. I think people would want to know, because Motec was a massive brand in the 90s to early 2000s, absolutely huge. You've mentioned some of the brands it distributed.
We had a cover car of Max Power.
Yeah, oh God, not that focus with the gull wing doors. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Obviously,
it's nothing to do with that business.
It's nothing to do with that business at all. And I think it's just the name, and you've utilised that name. But Motec has really not come from nowhere, but you was a one-man band, remapping cars mainly on the road.
Yeah, because I shared a unit with some guys with window tinting because you needed power for most
shared a unit. Broom cupboard.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
No, I know. And where are you now?
Well, I just moved to a brand new building. If you haven't seen that, then our links to our YouTube channel and everything else are below in the bio. There wasn't really one thing that did it. I would probably have guessed. The main thing that did it is I had an E92 V8 M3. We went to the BMW show as Remus because I had to put a Remus exhaust onto it, and you were there with your M4. I think I've got some good images of that show, so I'll try and get Jay to edit some pictures in. But the two cars next to each other, and yet again, go back to car shows, which is another vlog coming soon, worked really, really well. And the fact that people could see and hear the exhaust was obviously one thing, but people hadn't seen Remus. Now, you had a Java Green M4 before individual colours were out, so it wasn't individual, but before it was a bit more popular. So it worked very well. But people could see the exhaust, and then to be able to hear it and then see it. Sorry, someone's just walked in, but we're going to keep it rolling because it's a podcast.
Yeah, it really is. I'm going to have to stop.
Right, so sorry, someone did walk in, but don't worry. Anyway, you can't see it if you listen to us. So we did a show together, and people wanted to buy the exhaust because the M4 was brand new out, and it was by far then the loudest system you could buy and the most quietest. Now, that was his unique thing. Yeah. It was the loudest and the quietest. When the valve was open, it was like nothing else. Put it back, the valve closed, it was like standard. And people were buying that, and it was very quick to see that car transformed BMW into the tuning scene, because there was never really a turbocharged car before then. You had the 335i and the 135i, but there was still E82 and E92s. They weren't as popular. But now their halo cars were turbocharged, F10, M5 and that sort of stuff. It really opened it up, and it's like, wow, okay, so, never having any money in a small business, and I still don't have any money now, I keep paying you. You have to basically run on what's popular. So we used to do more car shows. We had you up. We did a few YouTube videos.
Early days.
Yeah, early days. We did a car magazine. We did BMW Car Shoot together. I sold the V8 M3 because it wasn't a car back then that was tuned, because you could put a tuning box on your car and it'd be 500 horsepower, 520 horsepower, no problem at all, from 440. If you do anything to the E92, it's a real driver's car, and people want to spend as little money as they can for big gains. That's fundamentally it. So I bought a 235i because I remember putting my E92 in the garage and just never really using it. And I bought a 235i, fitted some Eibach springs to it, Do you remember this? I did Autosport show.
Yeah, yeah.
So Ben at iBack said, well, why are we not making your own spring kit? So the original 235i Pro kit from off the shelf was a 20 mil drop at the front, 10 at the rear. So it never looked like it was lowered, and it was like, well, what's the point? You know, why am I spending in excess of 450 quid to have springs fitted for it to look standard? It's just a waste of money. Ben said, well, why don't we white label your own kit? You can have your own kit made. Okay, no problem at all.
Now, that was a bold decision when you're still a one-man band on your own.
Buying 25 sets of springs, I didn't know. This is before Instagram, not before Instagram.
No,
but
before you had an Instagram
when you've got
following.
150 followers on Instagram, you know, to order 25 sets of springs is a big thing. Bear in mind, this is before the 140s were even out.
Yeah.
So 235, this is before the M2 was out. And I said, no problem at all. So I brought one set, we developed it. I was waiting for 25 on the condition I would get the car at Autosport show on their stand.
Yeah.
And it really worked, and it got people's attention, and we were the early days of, I would probably want to call it social influencer marketing. That's probably the correct word for it. There was no money given, but I approached people like Sideways Sid in the early days. I had quite a big following.
You had a lot in the very early days. It's something that I looked at to think, wow, Mike's spending a lot of time with these guys filming, so on. I've never heard of any of them as such.
No.
But you put a lot of time and effort into the social media.
But that's been the growth of the
influence.
business.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's grown to the point where I now have, he's actually behind the camera, Jay's a full-time videographer and editor, and it's now getting to the point where he's like, Mike, I need help. I can't do all this all day long because I've got X, Y, Z to do and film and edit. I think at last count, he's probably have to nod now. Is it 9 vlogs got waiting to go out? 9 more vlogs, and you keep bugging me.
Can you not speed up?
You can't. Quality's not as good. Well, this is another thing that needs to come back to, which is another thing why we've grown quite well, is he's now wants obviously extra help. But you keep bugging me, for example. It's like, we've just done an exhaust on a Mark 8 Golf.
Yeah.
Want to see that? And a Supra. Where's the Supra vlog?
Yeah.
Well, the Supra vlog now gets put back because the Mark 8 is more important.
It is.
You know? So,
yeah.
you know, that's one thing that grew the business, was dealing with influencers. When we dealt with Joe Achilles, when he probably had 18,000 followers.
Yeah.
But in nowadays terms, that's probably the equivalent of 100,000 followers, maybe. Yeah. Because obviously things change.
And he has been hugely successful for working with Motec.
Well, last time I saw him was a few weeks ago, and I had a good chat with him, and I said to him, I can't believe how far you've come, because the first time I met you, you had a M135i, and you know, we were in a smaller unit, had a 235i. Now he's got his full-time business doing YouTubing, and he's got his M2 comp, and he's got his brand new G80 M3. So fair play to him. He's grown as well, but not just off the back.
But he must have said to you, look where you've come.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I said I'd rather have an M3 than a big unit. But you know, that was one of the growth. And then the other thing really is just putting your money where your mouth is. When you could see the power of YouTube and these influencers, I employed a full-time videographer and a full-time editor. Yeah. So he was my first employee, took pictures of, but it was the interesting thing to see a difference from your iPhone to where the quality of them is now. And you may go, wow, how does that picture even get on your phone? But we have to then invest in Macs, because Macs have to have an AirDrop. So it's all those things, but that's a lot of the growth. There's not been one thing. Having your own springs is one thing, and that's really helped. Having your own springs has opened up other doors. We now offer 3 spring kits with a potential 4th come in, our own brakes, which is the EBC 2-part floating disc, and then something we've been working on as well, which we're going to another influencer, which is a 4-part caliper kit for the F20s, which will be exclusive to us. But as you grow, people see your worth in that as well. And then I can have the conversation with you and say, we need a black tailpipe for the Remus exhaust, because I could see a trend on the M2 comps, for example. They didn't want a chrome because the previous car had chrome. Carbon is quite expensive.
But what you've done is you've put your money where your mouth is and said, I can see a market for the lower drop IBAC spring, the black tailpipes for a Remus exhaust. Now those things don't just come, you can't buy one at a time.
No.
You can't, you know, so you've invested into, I think I know where this market is going, and you've invested and said, I want, and I'll buy those tailpipes. I'll buy them in stock. I want them as a Motec product.
So the other reason why, and Jay's been with me for a lot of the products going, and he will know this as well, but I speak openly to you and to him. It's frustrating as a retailer. If I take a picture of an M4 and it's filmed and edited, looks amazing, we may have 500 followers at the time on Instagram. All that's actually really doing is helping Remus UK and Remus Austria. Exactly. So it got to the point, it's like, hang on a minute, I'm a little bit annoyed because there'd be a guy in...
Yeah. Who knows? They can go anywhere to buy that kit.
Yeah, and we've done that video. So no doubt, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, we've helped Remus UK's growth. Not just me, but people... but it could be the same...
True story. And it is. The more videos, the more fitting videos, the more cinematic photography of certain systems only helps. And it's something that I say, if people do invest that, I try to share it as much as physically possible.
There is that, because the bigger we get and the better images we get, you are not going to share a nasty image off of a bad phone because it doesn't look very good on your feed.
No, exactly that.
So you want to grow as much as we do.
I do have people contact me saying, you share quite a lot of Motex posts.
That's because I employ someone to take the pictures.
And that's all I can say. If people are taking good photography of good products and showing what they fit, I'll share them. It doesn't matter who they are. But it needs to look good, it needs to be a nice image, and I'll share. It just so happens that you do supply quite a lot of images that we can use.
I've just had that same conversation with, I'll tell you, Ollie at Quicksilver. He was just up today having a conversation. And he's like, how do you get your growth with your business? Well, I said, it's just images. And I said, you guys need to up your image game. Because all they do at the minute is share other people's content, which is fine, but there's such a quality difference. So one thing that has helped grow the business is looking very... it's a Motec picture. It's very it is edited, but it's not, I don't know if this is the correct terminology, not overexposed, it's not catfished. It looks like the car when you take a picture, and that doesn't always do you well for
It's
life,
definitely that way. We had, I'm going back a few years, we had a meeting at Pipercross firstly, where it said we need to look at a salesperson in the UK. And I thought the days of a salesperson driving around the country, going to visit dealers, giving out a leaflet and a cap, they're over, because one, the cost of driving around the UK, just saying hello, is hugely expensive. But it's more imagery, artwork, graphic design.
You give me
I want to put that out.
And we
you can
conversation.
use.
In fact, how long, and we can probably say this, how long have you been badgering Remus for a teaser video? And they've just done their very first ever teaser video of the new G80M 3
And that was constant pushing to say we need to get a good quality video out before the system's out to show what's coming. But graphic design, photography, videography even more so, because videos are far more active than photography, is the way forward, or has been the way forward for the past, 5 or 6 years.
We'll have a good deep conversation when we do the social media chat.
We're going to pull in some people that specialise in social media, photography, videography, and have a conversation with how they see it moving forward. Instagram, LinkedIn for business, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Because it has been the way forward. At TPC, we have 2 full-time photographers, videographers.
And then you've got Grant
at Pipercross, who does a lot of work for us. Thanks for the Motormouths logo, which he knocked up in his lunchtime, which is very nice. So there is so much to talk about of different facets of the industry. And we must say, I don't think either of us would say we're experts in everything.
That's why you employ people.
That's why we employ people, have the people around us that are very good at that role. But we want to get those people in here to share their thoughts on individual areas. Other companies that's had huge growth. Let's find out how they did it. Let's ask them.
100%. Because everyone's got a story, and this isn't a case of us pinching ideas. I'm generally interested. We watch podcasts. Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts about people out of the industry. Ben Francis,
Jim Shark.
Absolutely follow that one. And then there's another one, John Modball, and some of the people he speaks to, like I said, the guy from Boardog. And I think it's just amazing. Hence why we're sitting down here together. So that's where I am at with Motec now.
What are you driving now? What have you come in today?
Well, we have 2 cars. We still have our M135i, which we've had now for probably 18 months. I think it's done 4,000 miles now.
It's going to be a good buy for someone, that car.
Doesn't get used anywhere apart from up a runway. But that's done very well because we do a lot of social media with it. We've done a couple of drag races with it at BOTB.
BOTB, yeah.
So the exposure on BOTB plus all our videos, if we worked it out, I bet it's probably had over 2 million views because it's had so much in the back of, just small videos, our videos, update videos. 2 million views, you can't pay for that. What's the equivalent of that as an advert?
No, that's exactly right.
So we still have that, and then we've just actually ordered a different body kit for that one to try and get a bit of a different look for it.
You've got your new wheels on there, haven't you?
We have, yeah. That's another thing for us. Yeah, we've just had our own wheel land, so they should be docking. Should have been last week, but customs are being a bit slow. So any time now, and then we're already talking to the second and third wheel. But yeah, M135i, which is obviously all done, runs the Remus exhaust, which we had on display. No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before. Autosport show. Feels like last year. COVID. And then I've got an M440i, which we just fitted the Remus Sports exhaust to. IBACs and a few other little sort of tweaks, and then I'm just trying to work out what is next, which we will talk about in our future, which is coming in later in this podcast. But what's not fleet-wise at TPC, because I don't want any staff cars, demo cars and your own.
We've got a few.
Your own class as a demo car now.
I think it might be.
Yeah, okay.
I think it might be. So we've got the recently released Liberty Walk Supra.
Yeah, with the pink wheels, controversial wheels.
Controversial, but controversial, but I like it. That's very good, and that car's been about. It's some great friends in the industry have helped us out.
So that's the good thing with Liberty Walk, because it's so controversial. People don't understand it, and they'll be like, "Well, I don't get it. Who would want to do that to a Lamborghini or a Ferrari?" Then good, you don't get it.
That's exactly right.
It's for that people that go, well, hang on a minute, I've already had 4 or 5 Ferraris. And
Liberty Walk.
Liberty
Walk.
Do what you want, it's your car.
Walk free is a translation loosely in Japanese. Do what you want.
Yeah, so when you cut up a Supra, people can't work out and go, hey, this is an advertising tool. You're not going to drive that to, although you could do, it's probably a good video. Yeah. But it's all about a talking point. So when you say, because this I think is probably your...
Sixth.
Demo? Oh, you had the Mustang as well.
Mini, Mustang, i8, GTR, Supra.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a few. So we got the Supra. We've recently just bought the Yaris GR.
Oh yeah, okay, which was the early one, but it's gone.
Well,
now.
we had to because everyone else had one, and I thought there's got to be something in this.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got to jump on the bandwagon. I was a little bit late, but we've already got the Remus fitted, EBC pads, Turbo Smart valve. Of course, I've used it for development of the intake.
Yep.
We're going to be doing some suspension tuning and looking at suspension on it. It's a fantastic little car. Still only done 600 miles, 700 miles.
It is the in-topic car in a minute, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
One of the other podcasts I want to talk about is in-topic vehicles and how popular they are, and obviously terminology. Like, for example, this is a quick thing, like ceramic at the minute is a very in word, and carbon. Can you believe I was buying shower gel and there's a carbon range of shower gel now? I don't know what it does. But anyway, sorry, it's just like in word. So like you sort of say, Yaris GR is a
Yaris
very
GR's in. We've got a McLaren 650S, which it goes to have the Liberty Walk kit fitted next week.
Amazing.
That's very exciting. But daily, Range Rover SVR. And I know I might sound a little old, but it's comfy, it's fast, it does everything for me, and
it's an age thing.
I'm not going to change it for anything, I don't think.
Not even the new one when it comes out.
Maybe the new one when it comes out.
Yeah, exactly. If and when.
But yeah, so we've got a selection of cars. It's nice to have cars around the company. It's good for footage. For actual footage of what we're working on, how we're doing it.
But it shows you petrol heads as well.
Oh yeah, and we can't get away from that fact because I need to
keep. You look at your car park. Indy's got an M5. A couple of lads
got
got
Golf
Mark
GT, Mark 5 GTIs. That's right.
There's always nice stuff about and that proves your petrol heads.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I ask constantly, and I'm probably not going to put you on the spot since I've already asked you before. What is the future in your eyes of the performance industry, and how's that going to affect TPC? And it is that big horrible EV word.
We're all screwed. No, I'm joking.
You can say that on the podcast, can't you? Yeah. It's all right.
We're all screwed.
Yeah.
No, it's a scary thing, and it really only hit home when I was at Goodwood. And was at Goodwood on the Friday.
Same thing.
And so many EV tents, EV this, EV up the hill, and I've
Did you hear them? I didn't.
No. I've got one business that supplies air filters, and one of my biggest suppliers in the performance company supplies exhausts. So it's a problematic time. What I would say is, even in EV, there's opportunities. Suspension, styling, wheels. Mm-hmm. We've got Thor electronic exhaust sounds. We've got a tuning box for the Tesla to actually tune EV motors. And having the Tesla for a couple of days, I actually loved it. It's really, really fast, entertaining, and I enjoyed it.
Again, going with EV, if I say to you, right, okay, we're going to get into EV tuning, you'd automatically think Tesla. What about ID3?
Yeah.
Would they bring out an ID3 GTI?
I think they will, and I think they will. And BMW will BMW make an M car?
Well, they've seen that it was a good one, wasn't it? The electric.
The i7.
Why am I not buying one of them? Well, I'll tell that in a minute.
Yeah, I think I know why you're not buying one of those. But anyway, EV is a thing. But to stop manufacturing of petrol, diesel, combustion engines by 2028, I'm still supplying filters for a Mark IV Golf.
Yeah, no.
They're 20 years old now. Mm-hmm. So 2028 stops. 2027, a lot of people are still going to buying the hot hatches, buying petrol, diesel, combustion engines. They've still got a 20-year lifespan. So I don't think it's as urgent as what we worry about. It's just going to be an instant roadblock to performance tuning.
Because you did say something quite interesting, and I don't know if you can say the people that you spoke to, they buy Remus from you, it's from dealers. I'm sure you can. Begins with H. I-30.
Hyundai.
Yeah, because you spoke to someone at Hyundai, because they sell Remus through the dealership.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Another podcast talking about OEM modifications.
Yeah.
They're going to have some big final bang push out on some special stuff.
They believed, and I don't think it's confidential. It's probably got a little disclaimer on the bottom of the email somewhere. But in short terms, they think a lot of manufacturers are going to be building some crazy engined stuff leading up.
Like a last hurrah.
So like a last hurrah. And there will be some very special engined vehicles coming out late 2020s.
Yeah.
And well, that'll be exciting to see, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing we want to see, isn't it? We want to see a last hurrah. And we all want to see e-fuels.
E-fuels.
Yeah, that's what I electric cars, and this hit home, again, because I was at Goodwood with you. I looked, when we came back to work, I looked to see what the workload was for the next 3-4 weeks. And I looked on the board, and I think we had 5 Teslas booked in and like 2 Golf R's. I was like, oh, interesting. You know, Tesla probably booked in because we're waiting for springs to land, so they tend to just wait a little while for batches to land.
I'm not overly worried in my, I say lifetime, that's wrong, but for the next 20 years, I think there will still be plenty of normal petrol, diesel, combustion engine tuning.
Yep.
EV, we have to be switched on. The Performance Company have actively looked to make sure we're exclusive distributor of Steinbauer EV tuning.
That's a tuning box.
So that's the Tesla. The ID3 is in works. The Porsche Taycan is in the works. The Smart EV. I want to be known for that now, so that in 5 years' time, we're the only place to be thought for EV tuning. We have the Thor soundbox, the Thor electronic exhaust system, and we're actively now looking at suspension styling parts for EV vehicles.
It's going to go that way.
And it will go that way. And once driven one, it's hard to not be drawn into EV cars.
About, obviously, you can't fuel them up. So I obviously don't want to get into too much depth about how far you can go in the range of Teslas and what they're going to be worth and all this sort of stuff, because that's probably for another podcast if this takes off.
Yeah, we'll get some more people in, like you said. People are...
With Remus, and you must have this conversation with them, they are not a couple of guys in a shed.
No.
They're really not.
850 staff, 3 different countries,
And
OEM, Porsche, AMG.
It's a huge thing.
Where does that business go in 8 years' time?
Yeah, so we need to, if you can find out, you know, it would be quite interesting, because they will have something they can, in fact, probably in the back of their book, I think they've said a few things.
I think they have said a few things. I haven't read it, but I'm going to need to.
It's at the back, no one reads the back. But no, it's because it's interesting, because that's the bit that is crucial, because, and also you've got to remember that it's just not the UK, just because there are rules, you know, people might be bringing them in before or afterwards. But I'd like to know of what other people's sort of thoughts are going forward. And you're right, like you still say, you still sell a air filter for a 20-year-old Golf, and you'll probably still sell an air filter for a 40-year-old Golf.
Exactly that.
Which is obviously one thing. The bit that concerns me and my business model, we pretty much only do from now to 3-year-old cars. You know, and but speaking outly now, as a car gets older, the clientele change and their spend is less.
Yeah.
You know, when you're buying a Remus for a 70 grand M4, at $3,000 seems fine. When you're buying a Remus exhaust system for a 23 grand M4, it's a chunk of money.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than 10% of the vehicle, so it does change.
I just don't know whether new car sales will be affected, and that new car buyer may not go brand new vehicle, and who knows, because petrol engine fast cars, may go up in value, and people are buying those. It is something to discuss, and I would love to get somebody here with a little bit more information on EV.
So if someone's out there and they're watching this and they know more than what we do, because I know dick all about them, I'd probably try and plug it into the 3-pin on the wall.
Oh, look, the Tesla does.
Oh, really?
It's got
okay.
one.
Okay.
It just takes ages.
Yeah.
24 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fine. That would be good. And I think it's interesting. So, the whole point of this podcast isn't really to kind of go out to our typical customers. It's probably more to people on our, not level, but people that are the same interests.
Yeah, people with the same interests,
Yeah,
people in business. It's really interesting. And I'd like to know from the audience, who would you like to see on this podcast? Is there somebody that you think would be good? I mean, we've got our own ideas of people that, one, we respect within the industry, people that we've seen have huge growth, people that are especially...
And this isn't about pinching ideas or Mike and Jimmy going in ham on them. It's just to find out, look, we have these concerns, are they the same? And is there something as a group of enthusiasts and business owners can do to help speed things up, change things, whatever it needs to be, because it is an interesting thing.
And people will have better knowledge of certain subjects than us, and it's nice just to get that other thought.
Yeah. So, that's obviously one thing, and you're obviously constantly bringing in brands, and I'm guessing as a new brand comes in for your future, it might push an older one out because the older one might become obsolete.
Without a doubt, that happens all the time. We're very proud of the length of time we have brands. It just shows that we're doing a good job, that we've got a good relationship, that it goes on. But of course, there are things that sales topple off, or so brands will be leaving, new brands will be coming in, and it's just a regular
like an employee.
Evolvement. Yeah.
So what else are you planning to do in the future? Obviously, you spoke about products, but are we going to still, a show's going to be the same for you guys? Are you still get out and about? Are you going to try to have more opening days? Are you going to have less dealers but more efficient dealers, should we say? That's a better word, maybe? If you've got 250 UK dealers but only 150 of them active, is it something you need to streamline? Do you have to have specialists maybe in EV, specialists in this? There's all these things.
Yeah, So there's quite a few questions there in terms of, I personally enjoy shows.
Yeah.
I do enjoy going to them. I enjoy meeting the end user, bearing in mind we're business to business only.
Yeah.
I only get to speak to the likes of you. I don't get to see the joy, the happiness, the passion of the end user. So when I go to shows, when they're exhibiting at shows, I get to see that, and I quite enjoy it. Obviously, we haven't done any shows for the past 18 months. No. They all got cancelled, and I looked at it and thought, wow, we saved a lot of money this year not doing events.
Because they're not cheap things.
Not at all. If you want to go there with a good presence, looking good, how you want to come across.
Not 2 cars and a flag.
Not 2 cars and a flag.
Sorry. That's what I would do.
It's difficult to show that image at a show. We will be doing shows. I was mesmerised at Goodwood. I love Goodwood. I think it's a brilliant event.
Well, that depends on where you're placed, though.
Where you're placed, what the weather's like. Weather dependent.
We spoke to him, and I think they probably had one of the best stands in our industry, Deranged.
Yes.
Nice guy.
Yeah, fantastic.
He'd be good to get on.
He would be great to get on here.
Especially for car sales, actually. He was next to BMW M.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He had a brilliant location.
Like an OEM manufacturer.
He had his own stand, his own booth. Yep. It was a Friday. It was shorts and t-shirt weather.
Yep. And I like Aaron and Bill Stein, and we're a supplier from them, but their stand was just in the middle of a row of 10
tents.
Maybe? Yeah.
Tents.
Yeah, on the weekend. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's very costly, to do these events. So shows, possibly. We've done some amazing shows, whether it's Autosport, and we had 7 stands within one hall with DJs and Monster Girls and private meeting rooms, and that was fantastic. We've done Geneva with Liberty Walk. Yeah. So I've done Geneva Motor Show with Ferrari 488 and the McLaren, and we've done Essen for the past few years with a couple of booths.
So you want to get back out and get...
I do want to get back out. I do want to be showing what we do to the audience. So I hope to do more. They've changed. Unfortunately, you won't see me at tracks, because it doesn't interest me personally so much, Some of my staff will be there and they'd like to do certain shows. But I do prefer the bigger events.
So speaking of tracks, just really quickly, I thought, sure, we should do that. I'll send them an email. You can't find their email anywhere.
Really?
Type in tracks, trade show, display, can't find it anywhere. But 3 or 4 different websites. And without sending I got bored. Not interested. If I can't find your email address on how to email in for a cost of a trade, to get a pit lane garage, but I couldn't, so we're not going. Simple as that. Because this goes back to talk about another thing about websites. 3 or 4 clicks, and I couldn't find it. I had something else to do.
Do you know, on the internet, you're only ever 1 click away? Oh, no. Won't mention that.
Yeah.
That was Ted.
That was a good film.
So where are we going? We want to be out. We want to be. We've invested a lot in our development cars, show cars. Want to get them out, seen.
But you said you're not going to go out and see people, customers.
Not
dealer
necessarily.
days,
We want some more dealer days here. Obviously, we've now got Liberty Walk HQ where we're at in our little coffee shop. We want to invite people down here. We want to have some cars and coffees. Come and see Liberty Walk headquarters.
Buy some merch.
Buy some merch. We've got good merch now. Good merch.
Jay's already been eyeing it up.
He has. He has. He wants that bomb back.
Can't comment.
So I'm really excited, and that's probably one of the reasons maybe for both our successes. We're still really passionate about what we do, the industry, the cars.
So when we were last in the car and your son was in the car, and he said, "Is all you ever do is talk about work?" It's like, yeah, because it's our passion.
It's not work.
We're both taken. We can't be talking about the other things anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Enjoy your work. Oh no, enjoy what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. Something along them lines. It doesn't always feel like that, and I need to keep reminding myself of that. But I do enjoy what I do. You enjoy what you do, and part of the reason for the success, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the future, like you sort of say, where we're at now is good. The future. I wish we won't go to electric. I really do, but it does worry me.
But you've just moved into a unit. What, 4, 5 times the size of the one you've left?
3.5. Yeah.
3.5 times.
Yeah. But it's got so much more room to grow, and we have like 14 parking spaces out the front, which doesn't sound a silly thing, but it's so much easier for us to move the cars in and out.
I popped past today. It looked quite busy. You've got you've doubled the ramps.
Yeah, detailing bay.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah,
we're going to have another. God, the podcasts are lining up, but we've got to have a detailing one,
Auto finish.
I want to know about it. Ceramic coating.
Yeah, again, it's a new word.
I want to know about these things. And so, yeah, auto finesse would be great. They've supported us here at Liberty Walk. I'd like them to come in and talk to us about detailing. He is someone that has grown that business to an incredible size. The branding is so on point.
I'm looking at it now, it looks good.
The branding is so on point, and I think I want to get some information about how he's grown that, how he defines his
That's the whole point of these podcasts.
That's exactly right.
Because we can all pinch little ideas off of each other, but that's not the reason behind it. It's just everyone's got a story to tell. Your past, like we spoke about, where you're going, and then your future, and obviously where you're at now, and then the future. I mean, my worry is, and I will say this to you now, obviously exhausts have a shelf life, which does worry me. The new M4, chances are it will be some kind of 4-cylinder hybrid. So we're going to change an exhaust on a 4-cylinder. I don't know. Not that we're going to stop selling exhausts if you still make them, but our future is probably going to be in alloy wheels. Having our own one, and I've shown you the email of the second and third. We have a lot of our own products made, but I think that's going to be because, like you say, EVs, electric stuff, they come out with some horrible wheels.
Yeah, awful wheels.
It's a fuel efficiency saving wheel, and I understand that, but you can't really call us petrol heads in 10 years' time, can you?
Electric heads.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, does it?
I don't know. You can't even call them gearheads because they don't have gears. But anyway, alloy wheels is a big something for us.
There's people are called gearheads, but it's for a whole different reason, I think.
No, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Jay's smiling. He probably knows. But that's will probably be our future, and whether we do into more detailing of products or car sales, maybe I'm not sure.
So all of those things
keep me busy.
Don't involve me or the performance company.
No, they do. The springs. The brakes.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't mention that. You saying wheels.
The brakes. Yeah. But actually, EVs don't have brakes. So we'll see. That's another interesting thing as well. So EBC, how are they going to evolve for their future?
Yeah, all EVs still stop.
But they use a lot of it is engine braking. So if a brake pad is, what's the life of a brake pad? 30,000. It goes to 60,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
interesting.
True. Yeah.
But that's about it, really. Anything else you want to ask?
No.
All right.
Have I got anything I need to ask? Shall I look at your little notes under here?
No.
No, okay.
That's for another
do I have anything else to ask? Do I have anything else to ask? You've got me now because I turned up without any notes.
No, it's not.
I don't think so.
This is just a
I
chat,
wanted
isn't it?
this to be a little open chat.
Yeah.
A little welcome to what Motormouths is.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's about motors and we mouth a lot.
Yeah, I do.
It will be great to get some different people on.
So if you're watching this and it's something you're interested in, I've got a few people that we are going to be sending this to, and we would like you to come across. So it'll be me and Jimmy quizzing you. I think it would do quite well because I think everyone's got a good story.
Yeah.
And I think most people are probably in the same situation as us. It's like, well, what is the future going?
Yeah.
You know.
And how are you going to deal with it?
Yeah, exactly. And we just want to be open about it. So that was really it. I think everyone knows where we're at now, what's coming, what's the future is. I know that you're old, and that's about it, really.
Yeah. Well,
that's it.
This is my first podcast ever. So do I say bye to the camera?
No, because people will be watching. So we just want to sort of say thank you. Yeah, again, thanks to Jay behind the camera. It's a very hot day.
Thank you very much.
We will have Jay on when we talk about social media.
Yes.
Because he blew into a kettle once when he was drunk and did 4 million views
on TikTok.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's baffling, but we'll have him on there talking about that. And then thanks to Liberty Walk Cafe. And if you're watching this, sorry, we're a sweaty mess. And if you're listening, please make sure you like, share, subscribe. This should be on Spotify. We don't know how to do that yet. Spotify, he does. Spotify,
something we'll look
Apple
into.
Apple CarPlay, Apple, and whatever else. But yeah, again, thanks for taking your time out and listening to us. And we'll see you, and you can hear us soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers.